President Trump unveils upcoming agenda with his Ukrainian counterpart.
Several Central Asian countries reel from Russia's fuel crisis.
Nghệ An Party Secretary calls for prompt support for residents after natural disasters.
Hello, so good to see you again in today's news. I'm Hoang, and here we go, the first step of the show. Ukrainian President Zelensky is set to visit Washington, D.C. on October 17th at the invitation of the White House to meet with the U.S. President Donald Trump. President Trump said the two will discuss Ukraine's strategy in its ongoing war with Russia.
The visit marks the fifth in-person meeting between the two leaders since President Trump took office in January. Their last meeting took place in New York on September 23rd on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly. While President Trump did not provide details about possible counteroffensive tactics, he previously mentioned the potential supply of Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine, long-range cruise missiles capable of striking targets 1,600 to 2,500 kilometers away inside Russian territory. He added that the U.S. is also considering other options beyond Tomahawks, without elaborating. Regarding Russia, Trump expressed doubt about Moscow's military strength and reaffirmed that Washington is open to reaching a deal.
Ukraine's attacks on Russian oil refineries have forced Moscow to restrict fuel exports, triggering supply shortages across Central Asia.
As long queues form at gas stations in parts of Russia, Moscow has moved to ban or restrict gasoline and diesel exports to protect domestic supplies. The move has led to fuel shortages and price hikes in several Central Asian countries heavily dependent on Russian energy. Tajikistan, a close ally and strategic partner of Russia, continues to receive fuel under bilateral import agreements. However, fuel prices there have surged since Moscow began restricting energy exports this summer, with gasoline now selling for up to $1.30 per liter, the highest in the region. Kyrgyzstan, a member of the Eurasian Economic Union, is exempt from Russia's export ban, but still faces higher prices, delivery delays, and temporary fuel shortages since the summer. Like Tajikistan, it holds energy reserves but lacks refining capacity. Meanwhile, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, and Turkmenistan are reportedly facing similar challenges.
During the September regular meeting of the Provincial Party Steering Committee this morning, Nghệ An Party Secretary Nguyễn Thị Minh Khai just called for the prompt support for residents affected by recent storms and floods.
According to reports, natural disasters in Nghệ An have been severe and complex since the beginning of the year, with the province heavily affected by storms number 3, number 5, and number 10. The total estimated economic loss from the three storms stands at about 8,587 trillion VND, more than 3.8 trillion from storm number 3, 1.5 trillion from storm number 5, and over 3.2 trillion from storm number 10. In response, Party Secretary Nguyen Duc Trung urged swift action to help residents rebuild their homes, especially those who lost their houses. He requested a thorough assessment of damage levels, including accurate identification of the number of homes that need rebuilding or repair in each locality. He also called for the identification of both centralized and scattered resettlement areas to provide housing for displaced families, and emphasized the need to restore production to secure livelihoods and stabilize people's lives.
Upcoming are some updated news.
As of now, Nghệ An is among 16 provinces and cities expected to meet or exceed their assigned targets for implementing and developing social housing projects. In the first 7 months of 2025, 3 new social housing projects with a total of 520 units were granted construction permits. Currently, 7 projects comprising 6,682 units are under construction across the province. Nghệ An is accelerating project implementation, aiming to complete and put into use about 2,948 social housing units in 2025, surpassing the target of 1,120 units set by the Prime Minister.
The State Bank of Vietnam, SBV, recently held a seminar on the establishment of a national gold exchange. According to the SBV, studying and considering the creation of such an exchange is part of a comprehensive strategy to mobilize privately held gold, enhance market transparency, curb unregulated trading, and strengthen state management. Data collected from the exchange would also serve as an important source for analysis, forecasting, and policy planning. The proposed gold exchange model aims at three main objectives. In the short term, it would establish a physical gold trading platform to distribute imported bullion to licensed enterprises. In the medium term, it plans to introduce account-based gold trading and derivative products. In the long term, it seeks to reduce private hoarding of physical gold and convert gold resources into productive capital, thereby supporting real economic growth.
On October 15th, at the headquarters of the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, in Paris, the 222nd session of the UNESCO Executive Board unanimously adopted Vietnam's initiative calling on the United Nations to consider proclaiming an International Decade of Culture for Sustainable Development as soon as possible. The initiative underscores the crucial role of culture in promoting sustainable development across nations and aims to help address the complex challenges of the modern era to ensure a safe and prosperous future for all. Vietnam's proactive proposal demonstrates a concrete step in advancing the party and state's policies on international integration in the current global context.
Along the western borderlands of Nghệ An, a woman in a green uniform quietly sows seeds of hope amid the vast mountains each day. She is a Lieutenant Colonel Nguyễn Thị Minh Khai, a professional officer who has devoted her life to serving and contributing to the people's life. More in the story today.
For 7 years, working among the Hmong and Thai ethnic communities in Mon Son and Tam Hop, Lieutenant Colonel Tran Than has come to understand every hardship faced by the people living along the border. In places where women still bear many disadvantages and young girls often leave school early, she has chosen to walk beside them, sharing, supporting, and spreading knowledge.
Since its establishment, our village has grown economically and strengthened border security. Under the guidance of higher authorities, the club has turned each member into an active communicator who helps spread party and state policies to others.
Beyond communication efforts, Tran Than also works hands-on with local residents, teaching them how to farm, raise livestock, and apply new techniques to escape poverty. To her, empowering women and keeping children in school are the most meaningful ways to safeguard the border's peace.
It took quite some time just to convince the children to let me wash their hair. While doing so, I guided them on personal hygiene, how to brush their teeth, wear sandals properly, always choosing my words carefully to help them change their habits.
From the first chickens and pigs, she helped families raise to dozens of livelihood models, tons of donated clothes, and hundreds of millions of dongs in contributions. Every effort by Tran Than has become a bridge of compassion, spreading the spirit of the Uncle Ho's soldiers, border guards in everyday life.
The last story to send it our news today. Thank you so much for your attention. Goodbye for now.